All right, everybody. We're going to start in a seat. You can really start in any comfortable seat you like. Simple crossed leg. Sukhasana. Straight ahead. Dandasana. Sitting against the wall in either shape. All different options, right? So just pick the one that suits you best for now. All right, everybody, let's get started. So as we open our practice here, just start with the very simple act of getting grounded through whatever's on the ground. Right, up in space, there's no up, down, left, right. There's no reference point. But here on the planet, our beautiful planet, there is a down. We've got a reference point. We've got a home to anchor to. Just the right amount of gravitational pressure such that we don't float off the surface, and nor are we driven too deeply into it. And so just sit with that. Your body in contact with this planet. Even if there's a floor between you and the dirt. We've still landed. And so feel that capacity to get grounded through what's on the ground. And then somehow, gently, lengthen through your core. So you have a sense of axial extension. And somehow, even more mysteriously, just get a sense that the crown of the head is open, receptive. And so, in a sense, we're trying to embrace these dualities, which is part of so many wisdom traditions. And as yoga evolves, and later the branch of Hatha Yoga, sometimes translated sun moon, just to reflect these kind of opposites that we're fusing and uniting. So in this particular seat, as we get going, this sense of feeling very grounded and in a place and on a planet through our sit bones, through everything on the ground. And at the same time feeling a sense of openness, spaciousness. In a sense, kind of like the crown of the head is free, representing like a wide, spacious, open mind. And then just for the next minute or two, everybody, zero in with your attention capabilities. Zero in on breathing sensations. And I realize this is not news to anybody, but our body, our shoulders, our arms, our head, they're not in space right now. They're in the atmosphere. They're in a fluid. We're surrounded by all these fluids. They're just fluids that are gases, not fluids that are liquids. And every second you're bringing in this fluid. And we're tapping into this wider world around us. So just for the next minute, everybody, try to keep with this breath focus. At this point, we don't have to employ any special technique in the face other than letting the mouth stay closed, which is an insurance policy for nostril breathing, right? And with that mouth closed, you'll probably notice a subtle little movement of the tongue toward the roof of the mouth. The yogis call that jiva bandha. Jiva bandha, a little seal of the tongue up across the roof. Last few rounds. And as we're focusing in on this breathing happening through the nose, we're also trying to connect to the way in which the breath, really moves through the body via diaphragmatic movement. So in just these last maybe 8 or 10 breaths here, everybody, really endeavor to feel the slow, progressive downward movement of your diaphragm as you inhale, allowing lungs to expand, allowing belly to fill, allowing sides of the waist to fill, allowing the back of your waist to fill. Conversely, on the exhalation, feel the slow upward journey back toward the lungs that the diaphragmatic musculature takes. Feel the drawing in through the muscles of the waist. Last few rounds. Slow and low inhalations. And slow and complete exhalations. Last couple rounds. So from here, everybody, let's just gently fold the torso forward. Any amount that feels good. So pretty much from whatever seat you're in, you can likely do this. Walk forward with the hands, release down through your waist, your ribs, your shoulders, your neck, your skull. If you let your head fully hang, it sometimes makes the pose feel a little more intense and a little more response from the nerves. We've explored that before in other shapes, so feel free to, lean into that or lean away from the nerviness. I kind of like it in most situations, but everybody finds their own way there. Now from here, everybody, just gently walk the hands off to one side. Oh, gosh. Still trying to pretty much root down through your sit bone. Through both of them, but particularly the sit bone that tends to want to peel up here. And then gently and easily make your way to the opposite side. Oh, God. And just kind of feed that side that's getting the stretch with some nice deliberate breath. Both anchored down into the hip and reach away from it. Oh, my goodness, that's hitting a sweet spot. One more time. Back to side one. So we've got two elements here. Probably even more if we really break it down, but we've got some forward bend, a lot, and then we've got some side bend. Last one, second side. Oh. All right, y'all, let's come back down the center and then slowly return to a neutral seat. All right, let's switch the cross of the legs, or if you've just been in a completely different shape, maybe change your seat. We're not going to linger in a seat for too long, but we've got one more little sequence to go through here. All right. Neck, head. Let's try it. So, move one. Let's move the head backward and forward. And most of the time when we do this exercise, the backward is really the main emphasis. You rarely see anybody walking around out in the world who has their head generally too far back, right? Most of us over the years tend to have a little bit more forward, and some like way forward. So largely the benefit of this exercise is combating the forward tendency. Lean into that back tendency. But to make something happen, we've got to come back to neutral before we go backward again. So there is a little back and forth. Last couple. Okay? And then everybody, just with any comfortable arm shape that you like, let your head tilt a little side to side. And you can move at a speed that really just speaks to your mind and your body at this particular moment as you're practicing. You can let the arms be very passive or activate the shoulders down and away from the ears, which creates a little more stretch sensation. You can really try to lean into the stretch sensation if you like that. Or you can basically just stop as soon as there's a little obstruction. Like I feel a little obstruction here, but I could lean a little further. Okay, and then please come back to center, and then let's try twisting. Like you're looking over your shoulder, or even like an owl looking behind your back. Couple more. Okay. And then please everybody come back and then just do a little tiny version of a circle. Now the neck isn't like a ball and socket joint the way the shoulder and hip is, so the circling process is not exactly the same kind of activity, but it's similar enough. You're basically doing a side bend, twisting, a little back extension through the neck, twisting, side bending, a little forward flex, and a little just straight ahead forward flex with a little side bend. But instead of trying to break down each little individual element, you just move in a simple circle. And then circles in the opposite direction. Everybody, then let's come on back to center. All right. We're moving out of our opening seat here. So let's establish a nice quadruped shape. Obviously everyone that's practiced some yoga before knows that that quadruped shape, you've got to just make it friendly and palatable to your body. So modify with wrists if need be, and pad the knees a ton if need be. And then we're going to start with just our spinal rock. So remember with this one, the aim is not so much to change the shape of the spine, it's merely to go backward and forward. And kind of like that first neck exercise, the backward move right there is really the key ingredient. And what are we doing here? We're facilitating like traction in the low back. We're opening up the wrist joints and the shoulders a little bit. We're tapping into a different section of the hips as we pull back. We're keeping the back long and in neutral extension. And we're also training the body to be able to have the hips go lower than the knees with neutral spine. Please don't stand up yet. But a feature that we want to look for when we do a squat, hips to knee level with neutral spine. So I know I mention this most of the time when we practice it, but this is such a great move for your low back all by itself. But it's also a stepping stone to really efficient squatting. Okay. Oh my God, that feels so good. And then everybody, let's just do a little wag of the tail. So the tail kind of drops right, drops left, fishes over to the right, fishes over to the left. We explored this one recently too, where, oh my gosh, you go for a bigger drop of the hips if you wish. It's an option. Sometimes that feels just, amazing in the low back. You may have to make a little adjustment in the knees to let that full drop happen. Oh, man. Oh, yikes. Last go. Okay. And then, everybody, let's try some lateral moves. So you basically walk your hands across the top half of the clock face. Maybe you get over to 9 o'clock. And maybe you get all the way over to 3 o'clock on the other side. Nice big full side bends from your hips, from your waist, from your ribs, from your shoulders into your neck. 2 more. Oh, wow. Last one. Oh. Okay. Then let's come back to neutral all fours. Then let's try a couple cat-cows. So round up like a cat, squeeze your butt, push down your tail, pull in through your belly, draw back through your hyoid bone so your head is retracted and tucked. And then soften the glutes, soften the belly, point up your tail like you're straight up wagging like a dog, lift the breastbone, point the crown of the head forward. So right now I'm pointing the chin forward. That's probably too much. Here I'm dropping the head a little too much. And there I'm trying to find like a kind of nice happy medium. And then just go back and forth. Full cat tilt, squeeze the butt. Draw in the belly. Spread the shoulder blades. Cow. More relaxed into the glutes. More relaxed into the belly and extended through the spine. And then these last 5, y'all synchronize with breathing. Full, complete exhales during cat. And full, complete inhales during cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. Exhale as you move through the cat-like shape. It's pelvis and back. Oh. And then lastly, inhale as you move through the cow-like shape in the pelvis and the back. All right. Next, you're going to pull your hips back a little bit. So not quite neutral all fours. And then we're going to do a little twist. So the idea here is when your hips are pulled back further than your knees, and you twist like so, your low back and hips do not twist very much because they're kind of fixed and anchored backward. Meaning, any twist you get is really a thoracic twist. So this emphasizes more thoracic movement, which is your mid-back, de-emphasizes lumbar rotation, which we got in other movements, and we get a ton of. Last one. Oh my God, that feels good. All right. And then let's come back. Let's come up to kneeling, everybody, working our way up. Whew, man, took us a while to get here. Let's bring the left foot forward. Have your right foot, the back foot, in case I got it backward for you, just kick out a little wider than your knee. Oh, man, that changes it. So remember, I know we go over this a lot, but when foot is a little wider than knee, it creates inward rotation in the hip. So this back leg hip should have a tiny bit of inward rotation. In toward your middle, not out toward the side. And as you go in toward the middle, oh! Now squeeze your butt, especially the cheek on the back leg, as strongly as you can. 100% full glute work. That's already so intense. Find the arm that matches back leg. For me, it's the right. Let that opposite arm just kind of sit on your thigh. And do a side bend and neutral. Oh my God. 5 times. So you've got the glute on absolute lockdown. Your pelvis is tilting backward. You actually don't have much back arch. You got a long neutral back, but it's not arched. One more big breath here. Oh, God. Let's come out of that, dude. New side. So reset. New foot forward. For me, it's the right. But it might be the opposite for you, depending on how you mirror. Then that back foot kicks a tiny bit wider than the knee. That totally sets this femur bone on a new pattern. Oh, that is intense. Jeez. Put the glutes on lockdown, especially back butt cheek. The butt cheek that represents the back down leg. 6 little lateral bends. Oh. So an upward and sideward reach. Trying to go up and away from that grounded thigh. And then even to the side. Up and sideways. Last one. Oh my God. Whew. One more time. Let's go back to side one. New foot forward. We're going to bring both hands down. So we've got 15 nails all lined up, roughly. And you can be on a block if you need to. Toes, fingers, fingers. Shimmy off that back knee so you've got a nice long lunge. So here, everybody, you want to sink into a really clean right angle in your front leg. Very optimal shape for your knee. You want to really thrust back through your back knee. So the back of the knee joint pushes up on the back leg. The heel pushes back. If you had a wall right there, you could push your heel into the wall. Squeeze the butt a little bit. And then like we did for a warm-up move, reach one arm out, the arm that represents the front leg, and then do a little twist. Come back to center, walk the back foot in a little closer, and try to straighten both legs. Please don't hyperextend the front leg, so don't over straighten it like a banana. And then if you're feeling pretty confident with your balance, you can bring your hands on your tail, interlace your fingers, and lift the interlaced fingered hands or fist up. Some people call this humble warrior. Alright, one more big breath here. Then we're going to release with the hands. Come back to all fours. Come back to all twos. And then hit the new side. New foot forward, right for me. Line up 15 nails. Shimmy off your back knee. Start really pressing through that back heel so you can feel your calf. Squeezing through your hips. Activating a little through your belly. Whew. Reach the arm out like a wing. And we'll try that twist. So we did warm-up twists that hit the low back, that hit the mid back, that hit the neck, and now this twist integrates it all, right? It's a little coming from the low, a little coming from the mid, a little coming from the neck. As you unwind, we get the back foot a little closer, straighten the legs, no hyperextension, but straight. Bind the hands, maybe, and lift up the fist. Then from here, everybody just release the hands. We're going to step the back foot forward. One big step. And then on an inhale, lengthen out through the breastbone. Reach forward. Maybe even tuck the chin a little. Stick up your tail. Again, here we're going for straight legs, but not hyperextended. Remember, hyper just means a little too much of something. So if it feels like you've just created a big bow in the back of your knee, too much. Put the microscopic bend in your knees, but basically still straight. And then on exhale, everybody release down, point the head to the toes, and point the tail up to the sky. Oh. And then finally, I knew we'd get there eventually, uncurl all the way up to standing. Oh, man. All right. Time for some weights. So last week we did a really extensive variation on like wrist development and different grip strength. So that's not really in the cards today. But hopefully you remember some of that if you tuned in. So now we've just got dumbbells. Right? So if you've only got a kettlebell, maybe you have two, you can use one in each hand. If you don't have weights, you can just go through this exact exercise without the weights, but obviously it won't be as strength building or as impactful. You know, at some point, probably once we get past 27 or something, we tend to lose a little muscle mass every year. So we've got to be doing something to combat that atrophy. And strength training is really one of the key ways to do it. You don't always need weights. I mean, we do tons of strength training in our traditional yoga classes just using body weights. But this is just bringing a different component. So, proceed. Bicep curl, rotate, press. So this has those main two components of a curl and a press. It has little secondary components of these rotating movements. Rotate, rotate. So let's try for about 15 rounds. Now if you're not used to moving much weight around, you know, this could be a pretty new endeavor for you. You might not even have an exact sense of like how much weight you should be moving around. But I mean, you can kind of make simple calculations. Like if you can't lift the weight you're lifting 5 times, maybe a little too heavy. If you could lift it 100 times, maybe a little too light. You kind of find some sweet spot. And I also realize you don't all have like 10 sets of varying weights of dumbbells with you. Dumbbells are particularly hard to come by during the COVID times here. So everybody wants some stuff they can do at home. Last couple. Curl, rotate, overhead press. Downward, inward, tricep extension. Okay. All right, everybody, let's release that. So next, up and out. We'll try 10, 9, 8. Whew, that one gets challenging quickly. 7. You got a braced core, active glutes, strong stance. Last one. Oh, man. Whew. Next. We're going to hold these guys together. So you want the bells together like this, if you have bells. You can hold a single kettlebell if you've got a kettlebell. Draw the elbows in kind of tight. Maybe get a slightly wider turned out stance. Just a little turn out and as wide as you want. And we'll squat. Elbow to knee. And up. Elbow to knee. And up. So I foreshadowed this when we did the hip rock. Can you get your hips as low as your knees or lower? Keep a neutral back. And really keep it hip dominant. Your upper body's working to hold the goblet, with or without lots of weight. And obviously the lower body's working to come in and out of the squat. Last couple. This last one, pause at the bottom. Okay. Now, if you have the dumbbells that allow you to use them for a push-up or plank, go ahead and use them. Otherwise, you can come onto your hands. So we're going to walk out to plank with the bells in place, if that's an option. And do one push-up and one pull. One push and one pull. Now when you pull, you've only got the weight of the weight. And when you push, you've got your whole body weight. So it's not exactly even, but that's okay. Last couple. Pull, push, pull, push. Last one. Then downward facing dog with or without the weights. Now, ideally you've got the weights still. Step right foot forward. Don't kick the weight. Bring the weights like this. Somewhere between your ankle and your knee. And then try double rows. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Plank pose. Dog pose. Lunge on the new side. You come up. So this halfway point, you know, get established like a bottom of the row, and then row. So maybe it starts down here, maybe it starts up here. 6 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. Plank. Try some mountain climbers. So mountain climbing is just drawing the knees as far in toward the face as you can. Keep your plank. Run with it if you like. So if you want more cardio, run. If you want more like abdominal work, you can kick a leg out to the side. And if you want to just keep up with like the normal pace, just some amount of mountain climbing. Last few mountain climber steps. All right. Let's get both feet forward. Let's come down to a squat. And let's bring the bells back in like the goblet. We're going to set the bells off to the side. All right. Now Now from here, we're going to stand. From here, we're going to squat. And then from here, one leg at a time, we're going to go back to plank. And from here, one leg at a time, we're going to come back to a squat. And from here, one torso at a time, stand. That's the essence of a burpee. Standing, squatting, planking, and then reverse. Squatting, standing. It's really just those three moves. Stand, squat, plank. Yeah? Let's try it. So here's the stand. Next is the squat. Next is the plank. Back to the squat. Back to the stand. Let's try again. Squatting. Planking. Squatting. Standing. This time, let's add one push-up. Squatting. Planking. Push-up. Squatting. Standing. This time, let's see if we can jump both legs back at the same time. Squat. Jump. Squat. Stand. This time, let's see if we can jump both legs forward. Squat. Plank. Squat. Stand. This time, let's see if we can jump backward and forward. Squat. Jump plank. Jump squat. Stand. Now let's see if we can add the push-up back in. Squat. Jump. Push-up. Jump. Stand. Last bit. Let's see if we can add jumping at the top. Squat. Plank. Push-up. Squat. Jump. Okay. So, it was incremental, but I did deliver a lot of different options there. Try a few burpees. Remember, any of the jumps can become steps, and the big jump at the end could just be a stand. Proceed. Last couple. So remember, you can break these down however you like. It's still a burpee. You could be jumping on basically every move, plus the push-up. Lastly, oh goodness. Let's come down to a seat. All right. The burpees, they're so cool. It's kind of a silly name, but such an awesome set of exercises. It's sort of like the military and football version of a sun salutation, but it's not limited to that. It's available to everybody. And really, they're all just yoga moves, right? The squat, the stand, the plank, the push-up. It's all just yoga put together in a particular combination. So, let's grab the weight and try Navasana. You can be weight-free here if you want. You can also add leg lift.
release, and give it another go or two. Navasana like a boat, which is what Navasana means. All right. So here, with or without the weight, strong abs. And here, with or without leg lift. Like, you could lift bent legs, you can relax bent legs, or you could lift straight legs. And release. All right. So let's come down onto our back. Whatever weight you have, pile it onto your hip. This can be a little weird. I totally get it. So kind of depends on the shape of the weight and just, where you can comfortably set it. Let the knees bend, feet flat. And then try 10 bridges. So you want to bridge up with this little bit of extra weight. You want every bridge to really come from glute strength primarily. And kind of quads, hamstrings, more secondary and tertiary elements. One more. And then release. Next, you're going to take one weight or two, depending on how you want to do it. One like this. Two you'd hold like a hammer. We're going to lift into bridge. And then we're going to bend at the elbows. Let the weight come just above your head. Don't crush your skull, but that's what it's called. And then thrust arms up. So tricep curl, and then straight. Tricep curl, straight, while you're bridging. Try 10 more, 9 more, 8 more, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Come down with your bridge. Ditch the weight if you were still working with it. Extend one leg straight. Extend the opposite leg straight up. You can play with this. You can lift shoulders and head. You can kind of play with the angle of your head if you wish. You can keep them down if you'd rather. You can also modify the angle of the leg just a little bit, wider or more narrow. Or if you're very flexible, you might even be able to catch your big toe with your hand. All right, everybody, take your time. Release. Switch. Catch the back of the leg. Catch the top of the foot. Let it range a little if you prefer, or she can just stay on that straight line. Okay, and then everybody keep that leg up. Add the second leg, so now we got both legs up. So you got both legs up. Reach the arms up, right above your shoulders. And then try to go up, not so much forward. with your torso. Release. Up, not so much forward. Every time you're going up, you're trying to slide the upper ribs down toward the hips. Fasten your uppermost trunk down toward the lower. See if the head and the shoulder blades can clear the floor. Last couple. All right, everybody, after that last one, please fade back down. Ooh. Then we're going to plant the feet before we rest and let the hips rock a little side to side. Let the low back release. Oh, let the belly relax here. The glutes can relax here. And your head can even go on a little counter stretch away from the hips. Oh, man. When you feel satiated, everybody, ease on back to the center. Find your way into a nice, comfortable, cozy Shavasana. Any palatable shape for your arms. A mindfully centered skull. Deliberately soft through the facial muscles. And as we segue into Shavasana, everybody, just spend the first minute here reconnecting to breathing. It's of course already happening. You didn't have to make it happen. You just decide to tune in. Just like we opened our session with, just leaning into, breathing a little slower and deeper on inhalation. And more completely and slowly on exhalation. Just as these last few rounds manifest, you might even let that exhale linger an extra second or two. And if you're able to practice this, within your home, depending on what's going on around you, see if just for the next 4 or 5 minutes, and that's all we'll clock, you can just completely let go of any top-down control.
Sato Ma Satgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mityorma Mirtam Gamaya. From the illusion to truth, from darkness to light, from separateness to interconnectedness. So please take your time, everybody, making your way full circle back into any comfortable seat. The hands can be on the lap, on your knees, or up on your heart. And just to close, everybody, as you sit, reconnect to the earth you're sitting on, to the atmosphere you're enveloped in. Connecting to your own heart center. And just in closing, non-verbally sending a little thanks out to everybody else practicing right now. I know our attention is our most precious resource, so I appreciate you guys focusing some of your attention on some yoga. And I thank you all for coming and practicing. Namaste.